student. Now in the live classes we are coming from the upward. We are discussing about the desolation partnership. Now in video I am going to start from last one, section B, that is the ratio. What is the ratio? The relationship between the two terms is called the ratio. One term you take from trading or PL, other term you take from the balance sheet. Now it is called a mixed ratio. Suppose both term you take out from the balance sheet and calculate the ratio, that is called balance sheet ratio. Or if both term you take out from the trading PL and you calculate the ratio, that is called income statement ratio. For the management point of view, the ratio has been characterized in 4 parts. First is the liquidity ratio. Liquidity ratio is calculated to know the financial position of the company, that in the short term how the company will pay. So all the creditors or bank who provide short term loan to the firm, they are always interested to know about their liquidity ratio. If in the question it is asked you have to calculate the liquidity ratio, in that case these two ratios you will calculate. One is the current ratio and second is the quick ratio. Both you will calculate. But in the question, if it is asked only to calculate the current ratio, then you will calculate only current ratio, and he will ask to calculate quick ratio, then you will calculate only quick ratio. But if it is heading here asked liquidity ratio, in that case you have to calculate the both ratio. So current ratio you use the formula current ratio equal current assets upon current liabilities. So current ratio formula is current assets upon current liabilities. If you will make the addition of all current assets and write here, and make the total of all current liabilities and write here, and divided this, the answer will call the current ratio, and this answer you will write is to 1. This answer will write is to 1. Now they are making the compare with 1. Like such current liability is equal to the 1, then what is the value of current assets? What is the quick ratio? Quick ratio equal liquid assets upon current liabilities. That is also is to 1. Ideal current ratio 2 is to 1, and ideal quick ratio 1 is to 1. So quick ratio, you use the formula liquid assets upon current liabilities. Now what is the liquid assets? If from the current assets you will less stock and prepaid expenses, then it is called liquid assets. So you write down this and learn also liquid assets. Current ratio ideal is 2:1. This, remember this. Now liquid assets equal current assets minus stock and prepaid expenses. That is called liquid assets. When you will see the balance sheet, in the balance sheet there are given right hand side is called the assets side, and right hand side there comes the non-current assets and current assets. Their headings are given. So all the item which comes under the category of current assets, they are called current assets. For example, stock, debtor, bill receivable, cash in hand, cash at bank, work in progress of current assets, and like such all item will come under the category of current assets. Second is the solvency ratio. Solvency ratio is also calculated to know the paying capacity of the firm. But the solvency ratio are used by those person who provide the loan for a long term. Liquidity ratio used by those person who provide the loan for short term. Short term means those loans which you have to pay within a year, and here long term means those loans which you have to pay more than in 1 year. So such creditors or bank make the study of solvency ratio. First, under the solvency ratio is debt equity ratio. When you will draw the balance sheet, in balance sheet liability side, first part is called equity, second part is called debt. Debt means external. In the debt there are the two parts, one long term and other short term. Long term debt is called non-current liabilities and short term debt is called current liabilities. So current liabilities goes in the study of liquid ratio, and non-current liabilities comes in the study of solvency ratio. So debt means here non-current liabilities. So what is the debt? Debt means non-current liabilities. And equity means shareholder fund. Which item will come in the long-term debt or non-current liabilities? Like debenture, bank loan, employee provident fund. So all those amount which you have not to pay at once in the same year, they will come under the category of debt. Mostly loan, debenture, employees provident fund. And in shareholder fund, that is comes all the fund of equity holder. For the example, share capital, reserve and surplus, accumulated profit, workman compensation fund, all these will come under the category of shareholder fund, and they you will add, they will be called equity. when you will make the formula debt equity ratio, now means debt upon equity. So formula debt equity ratio, that means debt upon equity. Next one is the debt to total assets. Why we calculate the debt equity ratio? Debt, from the debt equity ratio, the person who is providing to loan, he may be understood whatever the loan of the company is, his original fund are more than his loan. Now his loan is secured, or if it is not same situation, this is the reverse one. If debt is more and equity is less, now means his loan is not secure. Next one is the debt to total assets. That formula will be debt upon total assets. So here long-term loans are compared with the total assets of the firm, because the person who provide the long-term loan, they know if the company will not pay their money within time, they can go in the court and they can take the decree of all the assets of the company, and by selling the assets of the company they can get their payment. So they make the compare with the total assets also, because sometimes it is possible that debt are more than shareholder fund, because mostly part of the fund are used in the fixed assets. In that case, his debt will be secured if they have the more fixed assets. So they make the compare with assets also. And next topics is come proprietary ratio. Proprietary ratio, it makes the relationship of the equity with the total assets. In the debt to total assets, debt are compared with total assets. In the case of proprietary ratio, equity are compared with total assets. So formula of proprietary ratio, equity upon total assets. Equity means shareholder fund. Total assets, you know, total of the balance sheet asset side. That is called. And next one is the interest coverage ratio. interest coverage ratio, profit before interest upon fixed interest charges. Interest coverage ratio is calculated by the person who provide the loan to the company on a definite interest rate. Like you see debenture. In the debenture, interest rate are fixed, and with this rate the company pay interest every year. Like bank loan. In the case of bank loan, interest rate are fixed, and company provide the interest from this rate every year. So they calculate the interest coverage ratio, that if the profit before interest are sufficient or not, so that the company may pay their interest in easygoing or not. Whatever is the profit before interest, if this is the more than 2 times, in that case they consider that if their profit is suppose 100 and they have to pay the interest 20 rupees, in that easygoing they can pay. But if the profit is 100 and they pay to interest 50 rupees, then it will be typical, because they have to survive in the market also. So all the profit if they pay as interest, how they will make the growth? So if interest coverage ratio, they make compare the total interest with the profit before interest. Okay, thank you student. Or next 2 headings, activity ratio and profitability ratio, we will see in the next video. Thank you.